Thanks, Austin and Ben, for being here. I'm really excited today to do some Eleventy stuff on events.lunch.dev. If you're watching this on a replay, our goal today is to um, just change a little bit about the way that this site works. So if I, looks like my Firefox is frozen up. Oh, this is not an in-page pop-up. It is an actual pop-up. Nope, I don't want to make you my default browser right now. Hilarious. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go to events.lunch.dev. And we're going to see a little bit. We're going to identify the problem that we're trying to solve. So right now, events.lunch.dev is divided up into two discrete sections. We have upcoming events and we have past events. And we've been having a lot of, I guess, discussions about like how we want to organize this content, but in particular, one thing that we really wanted to do was kind of separate events that are like, today, and make them easy to join right from the homepage, events that are this week, and just kind of further narrow down this. And then we can kind of give them like various emphasis as they, kind of how near they are. So that is the goal. And today we're going to start doing that with collections. So I'm going to open up the Eleventy collections docs right now. But yeah, any questions about that? Kind of like our goal for today? No. Okay, so we're good. So we have collections, usage, tags. So it looks like the documentation for this particular feature in Eleventy is kind of like focused around tags building, I guess. I don't know if maybe I just clicked the wrong one. Yeah, collections. But we're going to use it to kind of further separate the content that we have available to us. So let me get a local server running by npm run dev. And Austin or Ben, feel free to chime in at any minute. Not rude at all. We're just kind of partying today. And then I'm going to open that up in my browser. Localhost 8080. Perfect. And then Austin, look at you. You're up next. This is you'll be doing this next.
We need to put mine in bold, highlighted,
Yeah.
background color.
How are you feeling about that, by the way? You excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm feeling pretty good. I spent a little time today just thinking about how I'm going to structure it, what I'm going to present. But yeah, I guess you could say I'm nervous, excited for my first stream. I think it's a pretty friendly group, so I think I'll be okay.
It is, yeah. It's a good way to kind of like start streaming. It's a smaller audience. I'll like trim up the parts that like clearly are technical issues, and so yeah, it's a nice on ramp. Okay, so what are we doing? So we have three. This is our Eleventy.js file, and we have three. I think it's three. Yeah, three collections that we're spitting out right now. So let's take a look at those. We have all events, we have past events, and we have upcoming events. Now, these are using the add collection API, but I want to show you first how we have those used in the was it homepage. Oh, that's the CSS homepage HTML. Get this out of the way for now. So if we look at this, we have a heading. So upcoming events, that's what we see right here. We have another heading below for past events. And then both of those are kind of doing the same thing, but iterating over different objects. So we have for event in collections dot upcoming events. Now in there we have all of the kind of data that's available to us from the front matter of those events. But this collections is holding both our upcoming events and our past events, which is really cool. So what we want to do is we want to add some additional collections, or this is what I assume we want to do, add some additional collections that would allow us to kind of grab those based on whether it's today's event or this week's event, etc. Now, I don't know. It's possible that maybe there is an optimization bottleneck that we'll be running up against. It might have to parse these three collections three different times, and we might want to, kind of tune that up later. But for right now, I'm just going to keep adding collections because that's what I know how to do. And then, if we, you know, have performance issues, we'll fix those then. I'm going to start by just grabbing everything that we have here. Actually, I'm going to get 23 too. Whoops. V through 50. And I'm just going to spit it out again. Just kind of like a copy on write type of style. So we see that upcoming events and upcoming events. Now, I want to do something for today. So we'll call this, instead of upcoming events, let's just call this today. And I am going to we're going to create a new object of events, and I will call this today's events. Now, that's not available yet, so this whole block kind of like doesn't really happen. And I'd like to eventually have this, or actually, why don't we do it right now? So if there's not a collections, whoops, I'm using spaces. I need to use tabs. Let's see. If collections, I'm still getting used to liquid. Collections dot today's events. I think that's how we do it. So if there isn't a today's events, we don't want to show this block at all. Move that in just a little bit. Only if there are today's events, we want to show the today's events blocks. So we don't have today's events spitting out just yet. So cool, we're doing good. But when we do, that'll show up. So let's go back into our eleventy.js file and create that collection. Now I'm going to type everything out because I don't know, sometimes it can be nice to see it all typed out. So we have our all events, we have past events. Let's do today right above that. 11 config dot add collection. So we're going to add a collection to that collections object that we have as, I think, global data. I don't know if I'm using the right terms there. Ben, you can correct me if that is incorrect.
I believe collections is global, yes.
Okay, cool. And we're going to call that today's events. As per usual, we almost always go with that plural because who knows? Maybe eventually we'll have so many events going on that we'll have multiple events in one day, which would be great. Which would be great. So yeah, so collection. Oops. So now this example below uses collection API. So I'm going to just use that collection API and give it a function. Yeah. So it takes that collection API argument, and then we're going to do some stuff on it. So now, Ben, the collection API, it has like special functions on it. That's why we call it the collections API, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So briefly to describe what's happening here, in Eleventy, all of our files that generate pages are called templates. And so Eleventy kicks off its process and it parses through all of those files and it decides which data corresponds to each of those templates. And it creates basically a big object like data representation of each page or of each template. And so Eleventy has all this data corresponding to each of our templates, and then it needs to it's providing us a way basically to hook into that data about each of those templates, and then to segment it as we need. So we're taking the this internal representation and we're iterating through it or filtering it however we need to decide, okay, but specifically these templates are the ones that I want to add to this collection that I've created.
Nice.
And so that's what the collection API is it's a hook to basically Eleventy's internal data about all the templates that it's got. usually I find that I tend to be doing get filtered by glob because I find I find Eleventy easiest to work with, or at least for me with my mental model, easiest to work with when I take advantage of directories. So different kinds of information have like different uh, directories. Different kinds of content will exist in different directories. So I'll usually do get filtered by glob. Um, and that's also super helpful if I've got like different file extensions going on.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
yeah, but in this case, I don't know that. I guess we are using get filtered by glob,
yeah, we
right?
are.
Yeah.
So this is a good introduction into that. So it sounds to me, if I could just kind of recap what you're saying, is it sounds to me like um, the collection API is something that Eleventy exposes so that we don't have to use all of the like node APIs. Like it knows about a certain subset of things, and so because it's going to be working in that domain, instead of
Yeah.
having to like do like a kind of import file system stuff, do all my imports there, I can use this collections API via add collection and then do anything that I would want to, get all of my markdown files, get all my tags, etc., etc.
Yes, because Eleventy already has to do that for you,
Mm,
right? Because Eleventy already is scraping through all your files and trying to figure out what they mean. And also, it's figuring out what data applies to each of those templates. Because every template accumulates its own set of data. And Eleventy internally is using these big, grandiose objects to represent each template. And so that's kind of the language that Eleventy speaks in, is these objects, these like giant template objects, these template data objects. Um, and so if you're doing any operations on templates or splitting them up, Eleventy is going to want you to also speak that same language, right? Like whatever you do, you should be able to do it with these template objects. Um,
yep.
and so it's already gotten all the objects for you. It's already assembled them. It's just your job now to kind of create a subarray, create a subset.
Okay, cool, cool. Perfect. Well, this is great. So we have so we're using add collection on what is it, our Eleventy config object, but then you'd also mentioned this other one, so which is get filtered by glob. And so I wanted to see what other ones were available so we can get all, let's see, what are the APIs here? Just so we can have a sense of what our options are. So we have get all is the first API that they talk about. And returns an array of, I'm assuming, all of the let's see, what does it look? Collections API get all. So it's already, like you said, it's already like kind of finding all of these files that our system cares about. And then if we wanted to get all of them, we could get all of them that way. We can do sorted, which I looks like.
It
Oh,
will probably sort by date, is
mhm.
usually Um,
And
yeah.
then it looks like maybe we can just call, because we get an array back, we can just call array methods on it.
Yep.
Very cool. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So what we're going to eventually end up doing is, using an array.filter, right? So that way we can say, hey, filter for any events whose dates are today.
Yep. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So then let's see, we can get them by tag as well. Um,
Yeah, so tags are an interesting Eleventy feature. It's not what we're going to end up using today because tags aren't, as far as I know, particularly dynamic.
Mhm.
But basically, in your Markdown front matter, you can define a tags property, which is an array of strings. And so we could, for instance, in our calendar, we could have like a tag that's like React Podcast Listening Party, semantic streams, stuff like that. And Eleventy will generate that collection for us automatically.
Mm,
So tags are just a handy, like front matter friendly way to assign a post to a collection or multiple collections.
gotcha. So this might be a really good feature to have when we do start presenting those properties in different ways on the homepage.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay. And then get filtered by tags. I guess maybe this is multiple tags. Okay, yep.
Yeah, it says retrieve content that includes all of the tags passed in.
Perfect. And then this one is by glob. So this returns array. Will match an arbitrary glob or an array of globs against the input file's full input path. Okay, so this is what we've been using up to this point. And there's maybe other ways that we could do it, but because we're already set up in this way, we're just going to kind of continue on this path and, charge through.
And the reason that I like kicked us off with using get filtered by glob here is because we have templates that aren't necessarily events, right? Like for instance, I've created like there's a template in there for our documentation on using the sesh Discord bot.
Yeah.
Uh, so when we use get filtered by glob, we can say specifically like no, focus on only the markdown files that are inside schedule. So that way we don't have to worry about any of the other content that we've got because
Yep.
those aren't events. We shouldn't display them as events.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay, cool. That's starting to come into view for me now. Thank you for that description.
No problem.
So yeah, so we can just kind of that's a perfect segue. So since we're doing the get filtered by glob, we need to give it a path, and we'll do the same path that we have we're using for all of these other schedule items. Source schedule or schedule if you like. And then we need to, as you'd mentioned, run our just standard array. Because this is an array, we're going to run a standard filter kind of function on that array. Now, let's see what we have so far. So again, this is all events, so we're not filtering that down at all. Our past events is, what are we doing here? We're checking if it's a valid event, which doesn't, I don't think it does a lot right now. I think we took this out of, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like the main thing is that the title has at least 2 characters,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which
Okay,
is not
cool.
the world's most like robust validation table.
It's good. It's good enough, and it's nice that it's kind of clear that we can see what it does here, right? Um, okay, cool. So we're checking is valid. So let's copy that because we'll definitely want to kind of keep pace with what our other ones are doing. And we can extract this out later, but for right now, we'll just copy on right. Do that. So we have our filter. The filter function that is going to run is this. If I got all the parens in there. Yep. Okay. So it's going to take the event and it's going to filter on is valid event. Now we also want to do some other stuff. So I'm trying to think if this is going to be closer to past events or it's probably just going to be its own thing. So let's run another condition here. And I think, let's look at date FNS, but I think there is a is today filter
Sounds right.
or function, I guess. So I'll just jump in here. We'll look at today. So we see weeks to today, end of today, is today, and start of today. Let's try is today, see how that works. Is today, we give it a date, and it will determine if it is today. Funny enough. Okay, so is today. And I did this on my other computer. It was the IntelliSense was smart enough to know that like to look for is today on this require, and it included it. It was amazing. So I don't know what I did to this machine to make it not do that, but I need to fix that. All right, so we're gonna do a new date of events.data.date. So that'll be the date of the event that is represented by each of these. So let's see what we get if we just save this. So we made a new collection. It is today's events. It's going to filter out them by their validity and then also if they are today. So if we got it right, it should be showing, oh, not right. I was gonna say it should be just showing the event that we're doing right now, but it is not doing that. So let's see what happened. I am not importing is today, so the filter is doing nothing. Oh my goodness,
There we go.
we did it.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Easy peasy. Okay, cool. So we're done, I guess.
This is a good time to commit what we've got.
Oh, Ben, stellar idea. Okay, let's review what we've done. So we have is today. That's the filter that we just added. So we're definitely gonna add that. Notes. That's just kind of for my note keeping when I summarize this. Um, and then we've duplicated this, and I think that this is fine for right now. I don't have any objections to the duplication at this phase, so I'm gonna hit that, and then we'll say add today's events to homepage. You know what though? I do have something else that I need to fix. I duplicated an ID. So I need to fix that real quick. Okay, cool. And then we'll add that and commit. Perfect. Now the next thing that we need to do is if we have, this event is already kind of in terms of my local machine, a past event because we're past 10 a.m. in my time zone. However, we could have some other upcoming events that are also today events. So I'm going to add one and see what happens.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Because, yeah, almost definitely it's going to duplicate that in both the today's events and the upcoming events.
Yes.
Probably only show up once.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking as well. So we're going to make a new file. 20, actually, I guess the date doesn't matter, but today, or also today.md. Okay, and then we'll take what we have, let's see, for
Yep,
this.
there it is.
So we'll copy that. I so wish that there was a duplicate. I look for it every day of my life, multiple times a day. And then let's make this 20 and see if that gets us where we need to be. Okay, cool. So we are seeing that. We're seeing, what do we have here? Two events here. We have one at 10 a.m. and 2 a.m. Actually, let me change the title so this is easier to think about. Also today. So we have this event. These are our two today events. This one's later though, and because that time hasn't passed yet, is also showing up in upcoming. Now, upcoming is probably going to be reduced by some degree. So we want to start removing at least today's events from upcoming. So let's try that. Let's go back to our Eleventy.js file. Upcoming. And then, yeah, I don't know if, how we're going to go about maybe abstracting our thoughts around dates. But we could probably say is not today, maybe?
I think that would be a good bet. Yeah, because that would that you're looking in past. Oh, I see. Yes. Okay, that makes sense. Because
Or, oh, no. Yeah, so not past events. We want to do the upcoming events, right?
I mean, it's going to be both, right? Because I'm sure the
Oh,
stream
right.
that you're like the event that we're doing right now is currently showing up in your past events. Would be my guess.
Yes. Yes. You are correct. I mean, let's validate. Yep. So also showing up in past events. Okay, cool. So we want to make sure that both of these are, the event is not today. It's getting a little, I don't know,
Yeah.
a little heavy-handed, but that's fine. That's fine. We're starting to see where those like duplication points are. Okay, so does this do what we want? We have today's events, And this today event no longer shows up in the more generic upcoming events, which is great. And the today event that has passed is not yet showing up in past events. Is this what we're going for?
I believe so.
Okay, cool. I think so as well. Um, given, I think that if it was truly dynamic, I would be okay with this going into past events. But given that it's kind of like on like that rebuild type,
Yeah.
weekly rebuild, I'd like to keep it in today, I think.
Is it a weekly
Oh,
rebuild or is it like a nightly rebuild?
I think it's daily. Yeah. It happens like right after our like kind of, I don't know, it's like 1:30 um uh in the afternoon central time. So like pretty soon after like a normal event would wrap up, or the average event would wrap up. Okay, cool. So in terms of like it working, we have it wired up at this point, which is good. The code isn't beautiful, but it's usable. Okay, cool. So we have both of today's events. And then I was kind of thinking, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, but something that I tend to want to see is like what is on like the near horizon, like what else is happening this week. Because I look at these and I'm like, oh, this is like cool that these are coming up, but I don't have like that context of like these are coming up in the next like this week, and so I there's like a sense of urgency around registering for them. So I'm curious your thoughts if that sounds like something that would be valuable here.
I think it would, and Austin, I would love your thoughts as well here too. But yeah, I think it would be valuable um, to see the horizon of the next week, and I would maybe define next week as the next 7 days.
Okay. So that's a good that is an interesting question. Because I think I was naturally thinking like just like this week, so like the logical week.
The
Uh,
calendar week, yeah.
yeah, so like Monday through Friday, as opposed to 7 days. So we could try it both ways and see how it feels.
I think yeah. Well, I guess because people kind of figure out their schedules on Monday and that kind of stuff. Like that's when people are kind of circling around on that. Austin, thank you for joining.
Yeah. Thanks for being here, Austin. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for letting me hang out a bit.
Yeah.
Talk to you
Um,
later.
Yeah. Bye.
yeah, like I think people, let's see, because if it's Friday and you come onto the site and you see something that's like, oh, here's what's up next Tuesday, like, are you in a state to think about what's next Tuesday? Even though that's fairly soon, relatively speaking, like you should probably have that on your calendar if it's a thing you care about. But also, yeah, I don't know. Huh.
Yeah, it's an interesting question because like I I know like for me, I tend to like come on here and be like, what's happening this week? Uh,
Hmm.
I mean, I know what's happening today, so today is more like for someone who is sees the tweet maybe because and maybe I can describe kind of what I'm thinking is like a future interaction here is like someone sees the tweet, they come onto like events.lunch.dev. Maybe they don't get like the direct, thing. They come on there and then like it's a semantics day and like maybe we're just like showing, the stream or like the link, or we have like a bigger page for it that kind of tells people what to do like right up front.
Hmm.
Because we know that that's happening today, and so like the card is a lot bigger, or like the call to action is like all there. Um, versus like this week, which is like, oh hey, like maybe there's some streams or activities or whatever happening this week, and then I can add them to my calendar. um
Makes sense.
and then I don't know, like I feel like upcoming, maybe we just do like a kind of like almost like a calendar review, like I don't know, thinking through it
Yeah,
in real
it's
time.
it's hard because like I'm comparing this to kind of the inspiration that I took when I was like coming up with the initial sketch was Learn with Jason, right?
Ah,
But Learn with Jason has a very consistent schedule of every Tuesday and Thursday, and
yep.
so you can afford when you've got such a routine schedule there, you can afford. Okay, that's me. Um,
Hey, Yay! Yeah. I'm so excited for you, by the way. That's gonna be so
Same,
fun.
same. I have to do some prep to that because I want to have a demo site that we can work on.
Awesome.
But um, yeah, if you go to the like schedule page, there's a tab up top that you can click on, a nav link up top to go to the schedule.
Okay.
Uh, and yeah, you can see that like uh, there's no separation here of like Horizon versus stuff that's way out into the like late June, like late July.
Right.
But even still, because the schedule is so routine, you can look at this and go like, oh, okay, like I can intuit like these are Tuesdays and these are Thursdays, stuff like that.
Right.
Our
You're kind
schedule
of
is not so fixed.
yeah. Right. So it's a little bit more featuring both like content and author maybe.
Yes.
Interesting.
So yeah, but I think that's something he gets to take advantage of. Oh, he's seen this bug quite a few times. The like weirdly scaling bubbles.
Oh wow. I thought it was just I went back, but nope, it's there
Yep,
again.
yep.
Okay,
It's
cool.
always David Corshune for some reason. Um,
Maybe Khurshid hacked it.
there we go. Jason just didn't use the right state machines. But,
um, yeah, so I really like this that it like features the event, and so like it's cool to see this because this is kind of like what I think would be what I'm hoping to get
yes.
with sorry with today. But this is really interesting because maybe it's like if there's nothing today, we say when the next thing is. Maybe that's
Yeah.
the
It's like because yeah, when people are looking at this, right? Like, are they really thinking about the far horizon, or is it like, what is the next thing I should care about?
yes. Yeah. Okay. So what if we tried that? What if we tried, you know, if there's not a today, what's the next one?
Yeah, yeah, that would make sense. I it's interesting. We start getting into some logic because like if we have two events on one day, which is not a thing that happens very often, but it can happen. If we had this session, but then also like an Among Us party tonight,
Hmm.
right? Um, like you don't want to discount the one that happens later in the day just because it happened to be later.
Sure. Yep.
Um, so I would almost think like if there's anything today, or even if there's multiple somethings today, like each of today's things should get the full bleed treatment. If
Okay.
there's nothing today, then the next event should get the full bleed, or maybe it's like the next day that has something should get the full bleed, and so like it gets complicated, right?
It does get
Uh,
complicated. Yeah. Especially when you take real time out of it, right? That's
yeah.
one thing that's kind of like complicated this because if we were rebuilding this every hour, or I mean, eh,
Hmm.
then you could do a lot of different things with it. But like because we're kind of rebuilding it occasionally, it adds this kind of interesting thing of like what does now or today
Yeah.
or next even mean. So that's kind of fun. I enjoy it. It's kind of a fun challenge to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like this whole question of like, do you want to? Because you still don't want to bury the lead, right? And so it, I almost feel like I would expect to see. Oh God, that's hard. We don't. Maybe I'm over optimizing for the edge case, which is when there are multiple things on the same day.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I guess the thing I want to feature most prominently is whatever the next thing is. And
Hmm.
there's multiple next things in a short amount of time, then maybe highlight both of them. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so play this out with me. So this is if I was thinking about this in a strictly real time thing, I would look at the timestamp and say, if it's now, feature that event.
Yes.
However, because we have this kind of two possible events on a day, and because we build slowly, um, well, and because these are static, right? We don't really know at the time of build what is now. We can't really like think of now as a discrete thing, but maybe something that we would hide in JavaScript based on today's events and the time that we have in JavaScript. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. So do some client side stuff to finagle with this.
Yeah, so like basically like we have today's events and that's just going to be static. It's going to happen every day like at the rebuild time, right? Um but then we might have some kind of we might show it as like now, I guess. I don't know. If we had a now treatment, I'm playing with like the
Mhm.
terms, right? Um maybe like a now and next of today's events. Hey Travis, welcome.
Travis.
Thanks.
We're getting into some build time based logic right now with Eleventy collections, and it's a very fun little brain twister.
All right. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that while these are important considerations, we are over optimizing for the rare edge case, which is multiple things happening on one day. Um, so I think we should always feature whatever the next thing is. There
Yes.
might be multiple next things, but we only feature whatever the most immediate next thing is.
Okay.
Um, and yes, sure, there are going to be some cases in which that's not ideal, but the vast majority of the time it works out. And this way we can prove out the design and prove that this is even helpful before considering whether we need to feature multiple things in this way or complicate our logic.
Yes, I like your reasoning quite a bit. And additionally, because we build at kind of like just after our regular event time, which is, noon CT, if there is a second event and it happens to be later in the day, which is probably
Yeah.
more likely, then it will get rebuilt kind of at that time.
Yeah, and I was actually wondering if too, like if it might make sense for us to have like a second daily build. So we build like twice a day, once like early in the morning, like 5 a.m. Central or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and then once at like 1:30 Central.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that way we can kind of catch, different especially if we're doing things in the evening sometimes, right? Like things after like things that start after 1:30.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yep. Okay, cool. So maybe that's kind of like a follow-up. Um, I'm curious what our I'm curious what our build frequency actually is. Um, so if we go to workflows. Okay. Yeah, so build.
I don't know much about Eleventy. Is there like an event way to do it, like an ad hoc way to just build it?
There will be in 11T 1.0, but that is a way out, and like it's gonna hit sometime soon, TM, but um, even still, it requires a lot of like serverless infrastructure and stuff like that. So like, kind of the easiest thing we built, what we found is just to like use GitHub Actions to trigger a whole rebuild.
Yep. And this actually works super great. It's been
Yeah.
awesome.
So yeah, I would just say maybe like see if we can get this working like twice a day. Once early in the morning, once after our usual time.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, so just kind of increase the frequency of our build. I need to make sure that that keeps us within our like limits, because I am building this from my like personal account, which I deploy other
Mhm.
sites too as well. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, that's why I'm not proposing like hourly. I'm just saying like twice a day
Yep.
seems, especially because our builds don't take that long.
Yep.
I'm
Total.
being cognizant of like I don't want extraneous builds for relatively low value, right? Marginal gains.
Yep. Yep. I like it. Okay, so we have let's see. So right now, what do we need to change? We have about 10 minutes left to kind of do something. So it sounds to me like we really wanted to prioritize like what is the next event.
Yeah, so not even necessarily like what's up today, but rather what's up next.
Yes. Now, would that just be like undoing what we did and doing upcoming events first?
Maybe.
Let me go back to Eleventy and see what kind of data we have.
Yeah, actually, I think that would make sense. Sorry, you said upcoming transactions first, and I didn't parse that as you were talking about the index there. But yes.
Yeah, so let's I guess let's copy this again and see where we're at. So we had this is today's events, and actually we want to copy upcoming events again. Okay, and then let's call this next event. And then I'm just going to work with the data that we have because we know we have a next upcoming event, and then see how we do this. So for events in, I wonder what if does it make sense to make another like kind of like global helper that accesses the collection? Um, or how do we do that?
Oh, so I think you can do, let's see, hang on. We're using liquid or nunjuncts?
Because I guess so. We're using liquid, right? Oh, this is liquid.
Okay.
Because so I'm gonna play it out in a couple different ways. So I don't know if we could probably just pull off the first event from upcoming events,
Right.
and then kind of I guess we could do it all in templating, right? So we just pull off the first event, and then we kind of munge the remaining events. So like don't display the first event
Mm.
for the rest of upcoming. Um, or we could create a collection. We could create collections for those. Or we could also create what is it? Not short codes, filters that would filter the collection.
I don't know that. Oh, I see what you mean. Like create a function that we would pass the whole collection to. I think it should be fairly straightforward for us to do this in the templates.
Okay,
I've got an idea for how we can do that and do it quickly.
cool.
So first of all, let's go ahead and create a section for that we're going to use for specifically the featured up next.
Okay, cool. Yep, I have that section with a new ID called next event section.
Okay, cool. So then here, what we'll do is we're gonna give us some, we're gonna assign us a variable.
Okay.
And this is going to be using Liquid's assign syntax. So go ahead and open up the braces with the percent sign.
Right in the section.
Yep. And so this is going to be assign, and then we're going to pick a variable name. So I'm just going to say next event equals.
And do I need to use underscores, or can I do it like
Uppercase, sorry, camel case should work.
okay?
And then, you, yep, upcoming events, and then you're gonna do your pipe, and there's a built-in filter for liquid called first. So go
Okay.
ahead and just say first.
Cool.
There you go. And now you should have a variable called next event that you should be able to trigger, reference the way that you're referencing
Gotcha.
your iterated event.
So anywhere, so I'm going to get rid of now this this for loop.
80, line 80. Yep. Cool.
And anywhere that we have event in this article block, we want to
Yeah.
change to next event.
Yep.
Make sure I got
Except for that class, you've got a class called on line 69.
Oh, sure. Okay, so let me, and then we'll change this back since all the other ones are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Line 69 as well.
69, yeah.
Nice.
Line 60. Yep. Nice. All right. So that should.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what's up next. It's Yeah. So it's getting that, and
Oh,
then
and
going. Oh,
it's
go
a
ahead.
little bit screwy because we added the today stuff to our filters, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and nuke that just so we can really see how it's happening.
Yep. So we're just gonna get rid of today's events. That should be fine. And then we're going to undo what we did with the gonna
Yep.
remove our is today logic here and there.
Yep. So yeah, also today is now the upcoming. Now here's the problem, right? It's showing up as upcoming as well. So we're gonna need to go back to our layout. And
Oh
we're
yeah,
gonna
yeah. We're just gonna do all this in the layout, right? We're gonna put these back and then okay, cool. No problem. Okay, we're gonna go back to home page and we will filter this in the layout. So upcoming events.
so you've got this for event in collections dot upcoming events. And yeah, go ahead and so you can if you want. But I think you can also just straight up pipe upcoming events to um the slice method.
Okay.
So, and here we're gonna want to pick index one, right? So slice colon one.
Okay. Uh, how do we do the syntax for the
Slice,
functions in?
slice colon
Okay.
one.
Okay, like that.
Mhm.
Okay, cool, perfect.
I think. Um,
Let's see. I can Google it too. What is it? Liquid slice array.
yeah,
Okay, let's. That looks.
yeah. So that's where I'm
Oh,
at too. That's the docs I'm looking at.
I wonder if we can't do it in this for.
That could be it. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and assign.
Going to sign.
Yeah, we can even call this upcoming events, right? Like
Yeah.
assign upcoming events equals collection dot upcoming events
Yep.
slice.
Equals collections dot upcoming events dot and then we pipe it.
Uh,
Slice.
yes, slice colon one, but it's going to be collections dot upcoming events.
Oh, my bad. Thank you.
And then on line
changed it.
85, we're now going to iterate over upcoming events, and we're going to remove the slice that's in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I need to unprettier this and then slice it again or cut it again. There we go. All right. How'd we do?
Uh,
Cool. I think.
no, because we're missing a whole bunch of our upcoming events.
Oh, so it's slicing. Yeah, that's not how we
Is that
want.
more like splice?
Yeah, so we want to slice to the end.
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe like a
okay.
-1 or something like that.
Um,
Maybe. Let's see. So we can do a -3
yeah.
here.
Let me see about.
This is where Nunjux is nice because I can just write JavaScript in here. I will give Nunjux that. But the more I work with a ConvertKit, the more I'm like, okay, I got to learn Liquid. Let's try it. Let's just give it -1. See what happens.
No, that's
Nope.
nothing.
Nada.
Okay.
Let's see if there's other methods other than slice. Oh, irritating that these are not
What
arranged.
about split? What is split?
That looks like it's string splitting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, irritating that these are not organized by data type.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it's interesting because this is not a good doc.
Oh, hello.
Oh, we just do the count.
Oh, yeah. Okay, got it. That makes sense.
Okay, cool. So I just was it collections?
Dot upcoming events. Dot count.
Now this is using so now is what is it? Liquid gonna know how to do that, or do I need to give it the JavaScript function for this?
Oops. Oh, I see what you mean.
And
Is
then
that all of our upcoming events that we've got? I think so.
yeah, and then it's
I
usually
think-
length minus 1, right? Because we're offset by
Um, I think when you're splicing, the end is non-inclusive.
okay.
May-
Let's see. So we have our last event is the 3D React 3 fiber, which we're seeing either with or without the um, subtraction.
Yeah, let's see. Slice.
Okay, cool.
Oh, the second argument specifies the length of the substring or the number of array items to be returned. So I believe
Oh,
it
so
would be
that already works because length is -1 by the fact that we're knocking off the first one.
yeah. So if you were to do length -2, then we would see things start to get knocked off because it's saying, "Hey, get us." Oh, wait, are we getting errors in the console?
In the let's see.
Because it should be updating. I'm wondering if we're actually getting errors.
Let's see what we got.
Hmm.
Looks like we're good. It looks like it's maybe just not pleased with upcoming events.length and the minus. I don't know if there's like some type of I'm so bad with Liquid. I don't know if there's like a math function that we need to do or something, but
But I would hope not.
yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I am open to just pushing it, and I mean, it looks right to me. Pushing it and seeing what happens.
I like it.
Okay. Cool. I don't want to add my next event though. So, oh, we need to wrap this though. If there is, oh wait, no, we're fine, right? Because the next event is only going to be. Do we need to add a conditional? I mean, we haven't had a situation where there hasn't been a next event yet, but
Yeah, I think there are other reasons things would fail to build,
okay.
right? Um,
Fair.
it's like, sure, we totally can. We totally can, but
I feel, you know what? I feel confident in where we're at right now.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to delete this one. We're going to have next event section, which is going to show our next event. I'm just going to test. I'm going to give it a little test by deleting, since I need to get rid of it anyway, the also today event and see what it does. Okay. So this is what it'll look like when we actually push this. And I think that's right. Next event is this Friday event, upcoming events, and then we have past events.
Good deal. Yeah.
Good to go. Cool. I think that's an improvement. And the next step is just making this, be a lot more kind of like, focus, put a lot more of the event detail in there, I think. But as for now, I think this is a really good step and we didn't have to really change a lot.
Yeah. I thought our collection into forays, our foray into collections was good. Even if that didn't end up being what we actually ended up doing, but yeah, I think this is good, and I'm excited. Like, yeah, I think this is going to give us an opportunity to provide maybe a full bleed design for the featured one, maybe
Yeah.
with like bright colors and stuff. Provide the event description
Mm-hmm.
in a way that you don't need to for every event.
Totally. And we can even, kind of include some of this like calendar stuff, like any like
Yeah.
possible call to actions, like being able to subscribe like to the speaker, all that kind of stuff. I think that'll be cool to see, like kind of like right on. It'll be engaging to see at least on like right on the homepage, like, hey, this is the next thing. Like, sign up for it.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, hey, this has been awesome. It's kind of funny. We went into this like thinking that we were gonna, or I was thinking that we were going to collections, but I'm glad that we, were able to find a solution that seemed a little more, tempered. and allowed us to just kind of, do it all in the templating language. So yeah, as a recap, really all we did was we just took the upcoming events object collection that we already had, did some local assignments to pull off the, remaining collection and then also the first from those. And now we have two places where we can start styling these a little bit differently, and that'll be awesome. So cool. Yeah. Thanks so much, Ben, Travis, and Austin earlier for being here, helping out with this. If you're watching this on a replay on YouTube and you like Eleventy stuff or web development, come check us out on lunch.dev. Join our Discord server. There are links all over the place for that. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you around. Peace.
Bye, y'all.